Hey everyone, it's Mason Blaisdell, Realtor with Mark Martin & Company. We're here in Madsen Ranch, a brand new development here on the east side of Round Rock. And I'm here with Chris, representative from Lennar for new construction. So Chris, I hear from a lot of buyers that are considering new construction. What's the process like? How is that different from a resale home? Let's assume someone's building from the ground up. What does that look like? You know, of course this changes, but what does it look like with you guys?
So for Lennar, what we go for is simplicity. So once you pick out the perfect home site in the community, once you find exactly where you want the home to be and you pick out the plan, then what we do is we go through your brick selections and stone selections, so your deco stuff, and also pick your cabinet colors. That's really all we need to do, is because everything comes prepackaged from Lennar for simplicity. We don't offer many upgrades because the house comes upgraded with our everything included package.
So one of the other big questions I get, what does the lending side of the process look like? Almost every builder has a preferred lender that they either work with or own themselves. A lot of people get freaked out by that. They go, you know, what is this about? You know, why is this so different? Can you explain a little bit, specifically about Lennar, can you explain a little bit what that process looks like too?
Yeah, so Lennar's now the biggest builder in the country, so of course we own our own lender, and the reason we do that is twofold. Is for simplicity, but we also want to offer the best value that we can. So we offer typically incentives towards closing costs to stick with our lender, and we still encourage you to shop it around, you know, to look for the best deal. But with us, we kind of have everybody in the same building, so that helps. For instance, my fiance works for Eagle Home Mortgage, so I can go home and I talk to her about deals all the time, and we make sure we're kind of all pushing for that close date. And when everybody's moving the same way, it's not like, sometimes with outside lenders, it's kind of like two ships passing in the night. Communication's not great. Yeah. So from our perspective, it's simplicity, but also we try to offer you better value too as a buyer. When we give you typically about 2% towards your closing costs, and we'll pay title policy, that kind of thing. And when you square that up, sometimes we're not the best deal, but you know, 90% of the time people will end up financing with us because it ends up being a lower mortgage payment for them. Yeah,
so typically it's not scary. The mortgage process works exactly the same. They just have an interest with you guys, and they do. You guys work together and make sure that everything can close on time. Because between all of the moving parts, between title, lending, construction, especially with the new home, there are a lot of moving pieces. We want to make sure everything closes on time. It's very simple. It's very typical to a resale.
Yeah, and one thing that I find with people is when they go through the process of getting pre-approved with their own lender, this is kind of a common sticking point, is they've sent all the documentation out, they've jumped through, you know, a bunch of hoops to get their pre-approval already, so they don't want to do it again. But I can tell you that it does make sense to take the time to do it. And once you've got everything together, you're already pre-approved, at least you've already got the documentation. Yeah. So you can get through it pretty quickly, but I can understand the apprehension of people not wanting to do that twice.
Yeah. I always say just shop it. Compare you guys to anybody else. And typically the numbers are gonna fall the way they fall. Yeah. So, very cool. Another question I do hear a lot, what does the build time frame look like? You know, the standard resale home, it's already built. So typically 30 days or so we can have you the keys to it. Yeah. Of course, there's different stages of construction. Some are an empty lot, some you maybe have an inventory and are ready to go, the same as a resale. From the ground up, what is the build time with you guys specifically? Because I know it varies big time. What does it look like generally with you guys? What can people generally budget?
So typically what it is once we've already got a start on the house, plans are approved and the permitting's in, approved by the city, it's about 6 months. I mean, it's conservative. You know, if the weather's good, it's quicker than that usually. So, but on the same note, like what happened last year, the rainiest year on record, we had a lot of things that got pushed back a little bit. Yeah. But we do our best to try and close as many homes as quickly as we can. So we definitely have a vested interest in getting as much done as quickly as we can, but also maintaining that standard of quality that you'd expect in a house at this price point.
Yeah, so standard of quality, perfect segue. A lot of people ask, so you guys go through 2 walkthroughs before closing. Mm-hmm. You do first the blue tape walkthrough. They're gonna go around and literally mark on little imperfections and whatnot that you guys take through. You wanna talk about that process a little bit, what that looks like?
It's pretty straightforward. So let's say a week to 10 days before close, you'll come through and take a look at your new home, and any little imperfection that you see on the walls, typically it's mainly cosmetic stuff, because we've already passed all our third-party inspections and stuff like that. As far as the actual structural stuff. But you know, little things in the drywall, if you see a nick or you see chipped paint or that kind of thing, it's your opportunity to just go through and make sure everything's right before closing. So, and normally we do our final walkthrough is a couple days before close, just to make sure everything's makes the customer happy and we're all ready to go.
Yeah. Easy enough. So honestly too, this process is not crazy different than a standard resale home. Of course, depending on the time frame of construction and whatnot, it may take longer to close because it may not be built yet. But in general, it's not very scary. They do everything they can to make sure that the house is as close to perfect as possible for you. Cosmetically, structurally, you're getting all of the warranties and such that you get with a new home. You even get the simplicity of possibly even having a lender within. So all the moving pieces together do come together to make an easy process for you guys. It's not scary. It's a little bit different, but it's not scary, and it's easy enough for anyone considering it. So thank you so much for joining it. Thank you, Chris, for coming on with us. If you are curious about any of this stuff, of course, reach out to me. I'd love to introduce you around and take you around to some of these different neighborhoods and developments. Of course, Chris, they just released a new elevation package for this neighborhood.
New section
for this neighborhood.
Yeah, so we're working on phase 3. So we're just about, I would say like 65% sold out in phase 3. Phase 4 is not quite open yet. That's going to be a couple months before we start selling into that. Yeah. So if you're curious about anything in Madison Ranch as well, hit me up. I'd love to put you in touch. We can come out and tour with Chris, see what's available out here as well. But, of course, my phone number is 512-983-7331. Call, text me anytime, and I will see you guys in the next one.